recommend you do so that you are supported. Yeah, witches. We're talking about witches. I really wish I could have my green screen up here. When I had the green screen up here, nobody was coming. Then I got rid of the green, and now we got folks coming in. So now, before I go any further, I want to share this so that I don't know how much you all know. So I want to make sure at least I tell you. So I'm cover myself in this. We're talking about cellular memory here. We're talking about your deep memory, which is very unconscious to you. This is unconscious to you. This is not something you can only will your way through. Somebody said furious. You could be furious, you could be angry, and that is not sustainable. Fury, anger, rage, yes, it's very powerful. Yes, it's forceful. It's not sustainable. Okay. My name is Naima. I'm a power mentor if you're new to me. I've been working with women around the world for 12 years to transform themselves and become powerful beings through healing sexual trauma, transforming their relationship with money, and now my focus is the template DNA power of the original woman. Okay, thank you for those hearts. Now, first of all, for you to truly have a tool, and it's not just me here with this live stream, which by the way, there's no replay. I have created a tool called Heal Your Witch Wound. It's only $97. Just to let you know the price, it's only $97. And let me share with you what's covered in this before I elaborate, because I'm going to be here, I don't know how long, but I'm going to be here for some time because I want to get into this. So here's what's inside: guidance on how to tap into your forbidden electric manifestation power and use it for yourself and for humanity. What's also inside is ways to strengthen your courage so you can be comfortable, joyful, and unshaken in public as you walk confidently in your sensual power. Number three, it's going to help you get familiar with and integrate the hidden, darker, cellular memory parts of you that sabotage your consistency so you can be consistent in your self care and life giving activities. And number four, expand feeling safe in your body. This is huge. Expand feeling safe in your body with $1,000,000 energy. Big energy, big money, big purpose, big attention, and big love. That's what's inside of Heal Your Witch Wound. You can buy it right now for $97 with the link in my bio, and the price doubles next Friday. This is a really good time for you to ask me very specific questions because I'm going to elaborate on them inside of this program, which is being created right now. Inside of the Heal Your Witch Wound, whatever you ask me right now, I'm going to share now and then elaborate on it inside of the program because I have what I know you need and I want to speak to what's burning inside of people now. So the product is being created now. You have an opportunity to have it be directly in service to you, and I'm happy to answer now. Okay. Ab- Abdima said, "I'm here because you have five sisters. I want them to get their courage muscle." Okay. So I'd like to hear from you all specifically because here is who this Heal Your Witch Wound is catered to and who my work is catered to. The original woman who has a message. She's purpose driven. Now, obviously, other women who want these solutions can get it, but I want to address anybody who's here right now who you're a messenger, you're purpose driven. You have something to do in the world that's very important to you. Okay? This is not casual. This is not casual work. This is not, you know, you know, whatever. All of my work is spirituality based. You should probably go look at my wall, sweetheart. Uh, Proud Mary, you probably want to leave asking me that kind of question. I'm Jesus. You're Jesus. Okay? I'm God. You are God. If you have a problem with that, if you don't like what you're hearing, you should probably leave and go to somebody else's live stream where you can hear what you want to hear. Okay? So my work is alchemical. Okay? My work is alchemical. And this cellular memory that's in you that we are the descendants, okay? The cellular memory that is inside of women that makes them freeze up and play small when it's time for them to come on to TikTok and talk about triggering topics. They want to sell their products and services, and they are scared to really talk about what they really want to talk about. I want to address that now. Does anyone have any specific questions that I can address right now? Women healers were believed to have too much power and were able to, quote, seduce others into a lesser need for the church by their control over reproductive and other healing practices. The control these wise women, particularly midwives, had over reproductive issues caused persecution by the church and aristocracy, who needed to increase the serf population in order to reestablish the old feudal system, which had fallen as a result of the Black Death of the 1300s. The feudal system is a system. I can actually read it to you right here. I made a note about it. So you can, when you understand why things are the way they are, it can potentially help you not feel like this is just the way it is. Okay? That is, a lot of women just really think that they come from a rib and they have these ideas about themselves because we've been living under these systems for so long. They don't even know how to think differently about it. So, the church needed to restore the population because so many people had died as a result of the Black Death. And they were concerned that the medicine women, the doulas, the midwives, the herbalists, the women who had power in the realm of fertility, the women who knew how to use herbs in the land to cause childbirth, to destroy childbirth, to really affect the woman, they didn't like the kind of power that she had. So they created they had the feudal system going to maintain control because this is when, at this point, land was a tool. They needed to control land. Okay, I'm not the greatest historian on this stuff. I don't need history. I don't do this stuff for me. I do this for you because I already know. Okay. But I do this for the brain and to give some context to the topic that I'm talking about, just to help it all click even more and click even better. And eventually, as I talk more and more and more about the original woman who has the template DNA, you can start to begin to see that if they was doing this to white women as it related to herbs and, well, any woman really, but this was in Europe. If they was doing this to white women who were considered herbalists and doulas, and these were the later women, what do you think was happening with the original women? Okay, and how that got shut down earlier, and how there's not even much knowledge that's uh, widespread about what happened with the original woman. Okay, but we know when we return back to our bodies, we're so wildly powerful, and because of this cellular memory, you know how much we choose amnesia. We're so powerful that we can choose prison. Okay. So, oh, let me read this. I'm a black man who is the son of a woman who has made herself small and uses work for escapism. That's very common. She makes attempts to shrink me because I have that aura that you spoke of earlier. Yeah, she's probably scared for you. And then also, when people are scared, they are going to be that way with people around them. You know what I mean? Even people they love. And sometimes they're doing it unwittingly, you know? Um, so I want to finish reading this. So the feudal system, I'm going to read it here. Feudalism was a system in which people were given land and protection by people of higher rank and worked and fought for them in return. The basic idea of feudalism was that it was a system for structuring society around relationships derived from the holding of land in return for services. So if we just piece these things together using common sense, because another way they talked about it, they in the 1950s, so when our parents were alive or grandparents were alive, um, the United Nations outlawed serfdom, which was a part of feudalism, because it was too closely associated with slavery. So you see here that they said feudalism. Now I just want to make the link. It'll make sense. I'm going to tell you why I'm bringing this all together. So part of the reason why they needed to control women the way that they did, okay, from the 1400s to the 1700s, specifically by way of witch hunts, right? Because this is not the only way that women were oppressed and killed. This is not the only way. This is just the prominent way from the 1400s to the 1700s. The reason why they needed to control the women is because ultimately it was about controlling the land. It was about men having control. And this was at a time where there was a desire for the control of land because that wasn't always a desire. Okay. Um, there's so many pieces here. This actually feels very masculine what I'm doing right now. Like men need this kind of stuff. Women don't need this. Women don't need this. Um, we were talking about the witch wound, and I wanted to bring some context to the conversation of the witch wound, and just land it for people in the at a brain level, because unfortunately, so many women, um, we are just very trained to be masculine, regardless of how much people say they want a feminine woman. Society very much trains women to be masculine. Okay. And so this is to help support what your body already knows, because the woman's body already knows this. Okay, she doesn't need this. She doesn't need the Bible. She doesn't need a book. When a woman softens, truly softens, she knows. She knows what aren't even in books. The stories that have been removed from books, the stories that are being attempted right now to remove from books, women know them. So the point here is because men needed to restore population, and they were concerned because the women at the time had the power. The midwives had the power. They could control the population. The same way the Korean women right now in the 4B movement are withholding childbirth, and the men over there are going crazy. That's the kind of control that we have. And so they created, let me repeat this to you. They wrote the Malleus Maleficarum, which you can go find the revised version on Amazon right now, on how to capture and kill women, midwives, leaders, influencers in the community, herbalists, etc., because they needed to restore the population, and they were using feudalism to maintain a hierarchy. So you know how we have landlords today, right? Landlords, right? Landlording is just a continuation of the feudalism. It's been modernized so that it is the way it is today, where you buy a house and you get benefits as a landlord that's linked to the tax code, that's linked to all government, okay? And in the feudalism system, it was basically where a peasant would, in order to get protection from the elites, they would come in, engage in this feudalism system and basically work the land, and protect the land in order to be protected by the landlord. Okay, so this is how they maintained, as it says here, a system for structuring society around relationships derived from the holding of land in return for services. Holding, anyway, so I'm hoping this is making sense for y'all, okay? The point here is the reason why there was so much of a need to control the women is because the women had so much power. And it says here, the control these wise women had over reproductive issues caused, oh, I already read that. Finally, the guilds of physicians being formed at the time. So the guilds of physicians were the men's attempt to control. Hi, Paige. They created the guilds, Guilds, guilds of physicians, because the church wanted to have certain men be in control over the health of people because the women had so much power. So the men weren't even the ones who were the doctors. They created it because they needed to usurp the women because the women were the doctors of the time. Okay. So they created the guilds of physicians formed at that time. Although they were less experienced in healing and using virtually ineffective treatments, they were searching for a way to obtain exclusive rights. They were looking for a way to obtain exclusive rights to the practice of medicine and found these women healers a great obstacle to their goal. So kill them, demean them, create the Malleus Maleficorum on how to destroy these women because they're getting in the way of our desire to dominate. Dominate land, dominate the people, dominate the resources. So we're going to create this Malleus Maleficarum along with the support of the Catholic Church to kill them and to make their children watch, to make sure the children never desire freedom. And if they do, that the memory of watching their mother be killed will stop them from seeking freedom. Thus came the burning times. We've all heard of the burning of the witches. Thus came the burning times when hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of women suffered cruel torture and death. Currently known figures state that more than 9 million deaths from these inquisitions being mostly women. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. See, when you get informed, whether you do formal research and you read things like this or all the books that she shares here, how many sources? She shares 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She shares 6 sources, 6 different, it looks like books here. Witches, Puritans, and Sexuality, Witch Hunting and Population Policy, Women Healers in the Medieval Church, Witches and Women in the Medical Curriculum, Explorations in Medicine, the Renaissance. So these are the sources that she shares and is quoting from. So whether you choose to do formal research like this, or you are a woman who's heavily, heavily, heavily in touch with your body and trust your body, you know too much now. So now when you interact, somebody said, I felt that in my cells. Of course you did, because that's where it's been imprinted and implanted in women. When you come to know this knowledge, you can no longer look at a male the same way. You recognize that a lot of the gloss over your eyes around who the male is just a gloss that's been painted there over time. It's incredible when you become truly informed in whatever way you become informed. Right now, humans today are living in the fruits of men running things. We're living in the fruits of patriarchal, Christian psychology dominating the planet. That's what we're living in right now, not the divine masculine. And when we come home to our bodies as women, and you need to ask me your questions. Now's your time to ask me your questions. Because the way to begin this work of undoing on yourself the glaze that's been put over your eyes, the current levels of blindedness that are over your eyes, the ways that you and the women that you know play small. And it's not just watching a TikTok live like this is going to do it. It's going to be physical work. And I don't mean late laborious. I mean practices that you engage in, regular practices that you're going to engage in to transform your cellular memory and bring you back home to what is true. Because what I'm telling you as a woman is when you come home to your body, so much will just wake up in you. And then the new challenge will be, the new opportunity will be, is allowing what you know to come up and through and live in your body and come out of your mouth, so that you can then inform other women who want to hear from you too, who want to be free too, who are doing the same work as you. Aaron, yeah, Aaron said, hold on. Aaron said, is there more than one witch wound, like archetypical? Listen, there are, who is this who talked about the different archetypes? So to answer your question, the answer is yes. I can't remember the name of the woman because there have been a breakdown of the different archetypes. And know this, and you probably already know this, as a woman, you are dynamic naturally. All of the archetypes are in you. All of the archetypes are in you. Um, if there's something about what you know is exclusive to you that you have a question about, I would love to hear it. I'm sure other people could benefit from the question as well. Balanced Essential said, I've always felt this. I'm not a lesbian, but I can't date men now. Yeah. And I want us to be very mindful that this is really not about hating men. Okay. Humans are programmed. Okay. And the men today are not the creators of the systems that play. So that's one. They're not the creators. They're living in it just like we're living in it. Number two, although I know we're trained to look at males as these, mm, you know, superior saviors, we're taught to look at them like penis equals leadership, or penis equals, smart, or penis equals this. And it's just not true. Uh, Remember that. And this is not about looking down on men or somehow like, what I'm saying is know the male that you're dealing with. Because if you're dealing with a divine masculine man, you're dealing with a man who's the exception amongst the majority. So this is not a male bashing session. This is not about looking down on men. Divine masculine men are absolutely exquisite, and we want more of them, don't we? So just be mindful of this, okay? Most men, they're they're, you probably don't want them. You probably don't want them to father your children, okay? The average male. And I know people would argue it. There's a lot of good men, average men out there. I don't mean average as in the average good guy. I mean like, the average patriarchally, yeah, Christian thinking man, who sees himself as bigger than, better than, superior, that guy. Balance says, this is so on point, but I feel like blocked. Talk to me about what you mean by you feel blocked. And are you a speaker, Balanced Essentials? Do you have a purpose, or is this more so a general, you know, tell me what you want? And for everybody, tell me what you want. Because I really want to get at like a real problem that you have, a real one. Aaron said, for example, I would think the wound of persecution isn't the same as fear of my own power. Oh, okay. So, yeah, let's get into that. So, the wound of persecution isn't the same as fear of my own power. So I'll speak to this and you tell me your experience of it, Aaron, okay? Let me real quick see if somebody has something simple down here. Like blocked in my stomach around this. I'm an artist. Oh, you paint. Beautiful. Is it more than affirmations or spells during moon phases? Yeah. So real quick, I'm going to answer your question, Mary, and I feel like I want to spend some time with that topic. So that's why I'm going to get to these simpler ones first, real quick. Proud Mary, who said, "Is it more than affirmations or spells during moon phases?" I'll ask you this, and this is for everybody watching. Has affirmations and spells during moon phases gotten you where you want to go? Has it? Okay, so Rebel, are you answering my question? Is that yes to my question? Because if it has, then continue to do that. Whatever works for you, keep doing it. How do you undo a husband that disappeared years ago and never was found? Many think he is still alive somewhere. Is that relevant to what we're talking about? Okay, so Aaron, let's go. So, the distinction between wound of persecution and fear of my own power. So, I'll speak from my experience and let's tease this. So, 2012, I've talked about this. 2012, I started to have a fear of being killed. Okay. It was visceral. It didn't make any logical sense. I was not hardly talking about power in 2012 the way I am today. I was talking about courage and, being courageous in life and in business. And in 2017, I saw my power. I saw it. I felt it. It was vast in my body. It was huge, and I couldn't. My vessel had not been built up to contain the power. And so I was living in Paris at the time, and I had a panic attack, and I ran out of my apartment, and I went to, and it was so I didn't know what to do with it. It's sort of like activating someone without giving them the tools to handle being activated in a large way. That's what it felt like. And I went to a bar, and I just drank champagne until I was, you know, sedated, right? I don't even know how much I drank. I just drank until I was sedated. And essentially, what I did was I just declined so much in my life from that point because I saw my power and I couldn't go back. And the more I just really ran and hid and was running around avoiding my power, I saw my power and I knew that there would be some kind of pushback with the expression of that power. Okay, this is my experience. So when we start looking at the fine distinctions that you're talking about here, persecution may not even necessarily be, oh, I'm going to be hung, I'm going to be beheaded. But fear of my own power, in my case, was how do I sustain this? How do I handle this? How am I going to interact with other people as this large being? Am I delusional here? How do I manage this? Okay, so in me being afraid of my own power, that's what it felt like. That's what it looked like. And the whole fear of being killed thing had happened years prior. Now, here's another thing that happened. The more I started to want to come out and be visible, that's why I said this live stream is not for like generic women. Let me be mindful. Women who just, if you don't have, if you're not trying to like, um, have a successful business where you talk about triggering topics often online. Your content is triggering, your content is compelling, your content is raw, your content is uncomfortable, then you perhaps this live stream is not for you. This is specifically for content creators, leaders, and visionaries who have content that they know is triggering, deeply transformational, raw, is a jab at the status quo, and she's concerned about what's going to happen when she becomes public facing. She wants to stand in that power unapologetically. She wants to make good money as a powerful woman on the internet. And she wants to be able to stand in that fearlessly. Okay. Hi, thank you for following Spicy. Okay. Hey, Disa. And so this is who I'm talking to right now. If you're just like general fear of your power, then ask me a question specifically. What's the fear of the power about? Like you won't be desirable to men anymore? Like what is it? You know? How is your relationship with your mother going to change? When you say general fear of your power, what are we talking about here? Hello, Crystal. Crystal Kingdom rocks. So, fear of being seen because what? Spicy. You guys, please ask me questions. I want mature, articulate women in here. I want mature, articulate, intentional women with questions who want results in their life in the domain that I'm talking about. All right. Hello, Kaplan. Thank you for following. You guys go ahead and share the live stream. How about that? Oh, okay, Abdim. I'm glad you're learning. Thank you for sharing the live, Dina. Disa. For some reason, I fear going within because I think something's going. Well, I'll just tell you now, everybody has demon in them. Everybody has Satan in them. So just accept it and move on with your life. There's bigger fish to fry. Aaron said fear of being doxxed, canceled, vilified. Yeah, so that's persecution, right? That's you were when you at least how I read it earlier. They were like you were saying they weren't almost like they're not connected. They're very much um, being connected. So I'm really, first of all, Aaron, I want to thank you so very much for bringing this up. This is wonderful. I love that you're bringing this forward because everybody here can benefit. So everybody, heart the screen right now for Aaron. Tap the screen and give some hearts right now to Aaron. Everybody, please. I'll do it too. Even though the hearts don't come up when I do it. Just imagine I'm tapping like that. Oh, hold on. What was that? Oh, okay. Look at that. Girl, learning something new every day. Y'all tap the screen. Send some love to Aaron. Really send some love to everybody here. Come on, y'all, tap the screen. Oh, is it? And I'm just not seeing it? There it is. Yay! I had to scroll over so I could see. Yay! Thank you for the hearts, y'all. Shout out to Aaron for the question. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. I love that y'all coming in. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about this fear. Yes, fear of being canceled, vilified, my livelihood taken away as social punishment. So, first of all, what is your livelihood? And also, I love to go worst case scenario just to get it out the damn way. Just let's go straight to death. Let's get the worst case scenario. Okay. So what would being canceled and vilified look like to you, Aaron? And anybody else can contribute to this. What would being canceled and vilified look like? CEO said, "Can you describe the moment you experienced the push into your power and your results, feelings, etc.?" So the push was not one moment, and I'm pretty sure many of you can relate here. Haven't there been many times when you got the push to either speak about a particular topic online, to have a particular conversation with somebody, to do that? It wasn't one time, right? It's been multiple moments, right? And so the same happened with me. It was multiple moments. I can tell you the ones that have been that stick out in my mind as memory is the one that I just shared with you here when I was living in Paris. That had me. I was in my apartment and I was looking at what was next for me in my career, my life, and it wasn't just a casual sit down. I was doing some serious visioning and planning for what my the rest of my year was going to look like and my future, and um, it was the push to power. Like I told you, this swelling up, and a few other memories I have and stories I've told that I won't go into now was living in Bali for a short time, and having so many moments between 2017 and 2019, even more, but I'm talking specifically in that window of time where I was running from my power very heavily, where, you know, I'd want to come out and talk about certain things, and instead of coming out, I would go drink a lot, or I'd go. I'm the kind of person that I would eat a lot of sugar until I was. You ever eat so much sugar to like you're numb, you're high? You know what I mean? Like really dangerous amounts of sugar. I used to inhale hand sanitizer just to like because it was legal and I could transport with it. I didn't have to worry about moving drugs around because I was on planes a lot, running from power. So I used hand sanitizer so I didn't have to worry about transporting drugs and getting caught. And like those were all pushes to power that I was running from. And um, a real push of coming out into visibility was really, I just got sick and tired of waiting. And I was in Colombia. In 2021, I went to Colombia for 6 months, Medellin, Colombia, in South America. And I could feel how scared I was to come out with Arrogant Witch. Arrogant Witch is a brand I used to have. And I really wanted to go after the witch archetype and really dissolve any lingering fear that was in me and also help other women who were dealing with the same thing. And it was so crazy popular, but it was only able to be, it was magnetic too. That was the stronger point I wanted to make. It was highly magnetic, arrogant witch, because I know that that's a name. I have been called arrogant so many times whenever I would just tell the truth about things and be who I was. And I've been called a witch, and I knew myself to be a witch. And but there was still a sting that I felt around it that I wanted to get rid of. And I wanted to I like to confront things. I like to take it head on. We ain't no sideways around here. And I wanted to birth Arrogant Witch, but I could still feel the part of me that was scared of being killed. I could still feel the part of me that was scared. And so I started doing what I call deepest fear inventory. Now, this is something ideally you want to do with another person. It doesn't have the same effect alone. It just won't. This is why, um, for those of you who are aware of Women Gods Gather in Atlanta, you need to come to Atlanta. Like even today, we met on Zoom, and like what we did together, we could never do that by ourselves. And then we're meeting in Atlanta. What we're going to do in a room together, we can never do on internet by ourselves or doing something by ourselves. So deepest fear inventory is where you basically exhaust, you write it down, you speak it out to somebody who is willing and has the capacity, your deepest fears, and you go all the way down. And I have a whole process that I send my clients through. So one, and you can do what you can by yourself by just writing down your deepest fears, like truly, like, and go deeper whenever you feel something that really rises, and you go deeper and deeper, and then you can say it out loud, and um, share it with somebody if you want, or right. So anyway, I did that. I started doing death rituals. 2021 is when I first started doing death rituals because it was really intense for me. It was like, hyperventilating, and, it was, and I was like, I got to get over this. So, when the desire is great enough, you will find a way. And so those were pushes to power for CEO's question, push into your power and your results. And so the result was Arrogant Witch was born. I started going live. I think it was once a week on YouTube. I still have my YouTube channel. The videos are still there. You can see me in Medellin in Colombia. I built up that community. I went on tour. I went on tour to Atlanta, New York, and Orlando. So many positive transformational results. I got high level clients from it, and grew the membership until it was time for that to end and a new program to begin. So, to answer CEO's question about describing a moment I experienced of the push into power and the results and the feeling. So, does that answer your question, CEO? Thank you for sharing the live, Balanced Essentials. Yeah, you guys share the live, please. Recently got a leadership position, but it's for a brand on the block list. Feels like a watermelon block. I don't know what that means. Feels like a setup. Thank you, Erin, for sharing the live. Thank you for following. I'm an online business manager, virtual assistant. All right, cool. Um, so I am strongly encouraging you to, if you want, first of all, if you have a question that you want me to elaborate on, and I can tell you now if I think it's a really good universal question, and I will give you really good answers and Lord knows what else inside of Heal Your Witch Wound. Okay. So, Heal Your Witch Wound is a digital product that I'm creating right now, and it's going to release Saturday, not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday. And it's currently on pre sale for $97, and the price is going to double next Friday. Okay. And here's what's currently going to be inside of Heal Your Witch Wound. And then you can ask me what your issue is that you would like me specifically to put inside of this. And I'll decide and I'll tell you now if I think it's really universal. Because if it is, I want it to be in here for the other women who are going to buy it. Okay. So here's what's currently going to be inside: guidance on how to tap into your forbidden electric manifestation power and use it for yourself and for humanity. Ways to strengthen your courage so you can be comfortable, joyful, and unshaken in public as you walk confidently in your sensual power. Ways on how to get familiar with and exercises on how to get familiar with and integrate the hidden, darker parts of you that sabotage your consistency so you can be consistent in your self care and in your life giving activities, and how to feel safe in your body with big energy, big money, big purpose, big attention on you, and big love. So that's what's currently inside of this divine digital program that's $97. And you can buy it right now with the link in my bio, and it's called Heal Your Witch Wound. Again, Heal Your Witch Wound. You can go get it right now. So, any other questions? Mm. Mm. The continuation of the witch hunts was supported by Pope Innocent. That was his name? Pope Innocent the Fourth, famous for his illegitimate children and greed for money and power, who in 1484 issued his notorious witch bull. This became the law for all Europe and was the legal basis the Inquisition to punish and or exterminate all witches. Baby. Ah. So, what I'm reading from is a Facebook friend of mine named Freya Inanna. She's an herbalist in Canada. And she wrote this piece years ago, I think 2001. And I saved it. And so I'm reading from that. But so much of what she's written here is really from 4 different books or 6 different resources. And I'm happy to share this with you if you want to DM me, and I'll just, you should DM me on Facebook because TikTok doesn't let you put links in messages to people. So I wouldn't be able to give you the link to this. So if you want the link to this specifically, what I'm reading from, you can DM me on Facebook, and then I can send you the link there. Okay? Yeah, Freya is a wonderful herbalist. I've bought from her shop before. She's in Canada. You know, she's this, very much identifies as a witch. Really, all women are witches, whether they identify that way or not, because women are powerful, crazy, wildly, wonderfully powerful. Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, I'm just about out of here. Unless I read something else that I want to elaborate on. The Malleus, remember, the Malleus Maleficarum, which was also called the Witch's Hammer, was basically a guide on how to capture and torture witches. Okay? It's called the Malleus Maleficarum. This Bible of sorts also pointed out the danger of the daughters of these healing witches being likely to imitate the crimes of their mothers. This led to the imprisonment of even children accused of witchcraft, the youngest on record being 4 years old. Oh, yes, we are living in the fruits of male leadership. That's what we're living in right now. The fruits of male leadership. This seems along the lines of Marion Woodman's work and Queen Afua's Sacred Woman work. Yeah, when we start talking about women in power, it's all linked. Whether it's a woman in Korea, a woman in Israel, a woman in New York, or a woman in Hawaii, it's all linked. It's all the same. It's the same wounding. It's the source is the same, no matter the ethnicity, the religion, the culture. It's all the same. We just talk about it differently. We teach it differently. And what has yet to be discussed. Here we go. See? It comes when it's ready. What has yet to be discussed is the power of the original woman. Mm-hmm. The power of the original woman. So books have been written. I mean, like look at this, right? We got this. We got all the different books that she cited in here. Erin said, yeah, the mother of us all. Correct. So she cited 6 books in here. There's plenty of books that cover the power of European witches. Plenty of historians and documentaries and sources that talk about the witch hunts and the Salem witch trials um, and then just depending on how wide your research has been, there's been research on laws that the Germans put in place to oppress women. Um, I've seen some on how Asian women were disrespected and not regarded. Anybody here have any extensive research on the way Asian women have been oppressed, particularly, like 1200 or earlier, or in any other century? Did anybody here have any of that? But what seems to be an anomaly, an enigma of sorts, is not only the power of the original woman, not only the power. but the way to engage with it. What's at stake when it is unleashed? If the church was doing this because of white witches, if the church was doing this because of white witches in the 1400s, this is what is in the history books. Now, we already can see now with what is it called? Critical race theory in American schools today. There's been argument every which way about the fact that stories should be removed, that the language should be modified, basically lie about the real history of this country. We see that happening before our very eyes right now in the 21st century. Yes or no? Do we agree there? That critical race theory has been argued, and they are trying all their slick ways to make sure history does not make it into any new books that's been put into the schools. Do we agree there, everyone? Do we see this? Do we know this? You've seen this and heard this, yes? Come on, talk to me, yes or no? Okay. So, if we see this happening before our very eyes in 2024, and we know, I'm glad to hear that. Abdi Mahad said, I taught almost all banned books. Amen. God bless you. That we don't know history really the way we think we do. We don't know. Just assume. Abdi Mahad, where are you from, first of all? What do you have to say about this? The fact that because of the way stories are withheld, broken, and how this has been going on for centuries, that we don't know history the way we think we do. Even if we read a book from a bunch of historians and anthropologists and sociologists and researchers, we don't know history. Everything's been tampered with so much. One story that has, so I'm happy to hear what you have to say. One story that got out was that Hatshepsut. Anyone here know who Hatshepsut is? Born in Seattle, but my family came from Somalia. Okay. Anybody here know who Hatshepsut is? H-A-T. Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. Doesn't that sound? Yes, the first woman king. One of them. One of the first woman kings. Hatshepsut sounds Asian, doesn't it? I know my numbers in Chinese up to 99, and that sort of sounds like 100 and something, or like 99, like, Hatshepsut, yao gop sup yet sup yi sup sam sup say sup sup look sup chet, right? So Hatshepsut. Well, modern day China was, well, history tells us that's where Africans migrated first. But okay, so the story says that Hatshepsut's stepson, so in that story, that tells us what? That her husband was a divorced man who married her and who had children. That's what that tells us, right? Divorced and married, yeah. So the story says that after Hatshepsut died, her stepson worked to have her name removed. He worked to have her accomplishments and the symbols of her accomplishments destroyed. You guys heard that story? You guys heard of this? Now, I don't even like to, people, you talking about, I don't care what you bones you picked up from some, to tell us this was 500 million years ago, whatever numbers these people come up with. You don't know. I don't know. You don't know. We wasn't there. And that's the story that's told. We don't. The point is, it's a story that made it through. Whenever a story that old makes it through, I question things. But what it does is it plants the seed that there were attempts to destroy her impact, right? To another story that made it through was in ancient Asia, ancient China. There was a method, there was an honoring practice when leaders and accomplished folks died. There would be a how would you call this, statue of sorts, or a pillar of sorts that would be erected to honor them and their impact and who they were. And there was a female leader who they deliberately did not place there because they wanted to omit her impact on the country at that time. I learned about that watching I think it was a 4-part documentary called, um, they actually removed it from Netflix. You guys know this 4-part documentary I'm talking about? This European woman, she funded it, she directed it, she traveled to all these countries. She did a good job, but it seemed like it was pretty, like, just high quality homemade kind of series called Women in Power. What was it called? Anybody know what I'm talking about? It was on Netflix and then they removed it. It was deep. It talked about the laws that were created in Germany that are still in museums now about how to kill women. Basically, the same as this right here from the Catholic Church, just done in Germany. Thank you for following, AD. And so, when I'm talking about the way our throats lock up when it's time to speak about powerful content online, like the way I'm talking about this now, I would have worked up such a sweat, 2020 ish. I would have worked up such a sweat and would have been doing all sorts of preparatory work. And I might have even put it off for a couple weeks. And, you know, so some of the work first of all, I encourage you strongly to buy Heal Your Witch Wound today. Today. Okay. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to receive your DM because my Shadow Gold Master Course, so much of the first module came about because of a question that another woman asked me that I already knew was universal about how women gain weight and eat themselves into fatness to hide behind weight so they become less desirable, so they don't have to, because they're afraid of the attention of males because of sexual power and afraid to really walk powerfully and sexual and be, wear clothes that really allow their bodies to show. And she asked the question about, I want to lose weight. I get anxious when it's time to lose weight, even though I want to lose weight. And, just her asking that question. And then I think I asked her a question to get some clarification. And I realized that was a very universal issue that she was dealing with. And I put that in the course. And it has been one of the most successful modules. That's why I say, when you ask your question, I will know if it's a universal thing because the work that I do with women, I will know. And so when you buy Heal Your Witch Wound, if you have any questions, even anytime this week that come to mind, you should put them in the DM. Okay? All right, I think I'm done. Any other questions or anything else anybody would like me to share here? I'm gonna wait about 45 seconds in case folks are typing. It's nighttime, so the lighting is cool. I don't look sleepy. You're welcome, Abdimahan. I'm a power mentor. I'm the founder of the Academy for Womanhood, where we help the original woman come into her full power. The work that's being done over here is I'm going to be talking more about this because it's time, about the power of the original woman and the very distinct work and really the environments that are required for us to have to develop ourselves. Thank you for liking the live. See you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Facebook, 6 p.m. Pacific. All this week, 6 p.m. Pacific.